There it is.
Welcome, everyone. This is Norman Koshnek here for Eyes on Cricket. I was changing hats very quickly. I better change my hat. I've had the wrong hat on there for a minute. Okay, Eyes on Cricket here with Norman Koshnek. Unfortunately, we're joined by three people that are RCB fans. I've got no hope. Seeing I'm a Delhi Capital supporter, I'm going to be belted today, won't I? All right. We've got the lovely Amanda Hayden. Welcome.
Hello.
We've got the lovely Nilakshi Sharma.
Hi.
We've got the not so lovely Chris Vernon.
Good evening. Thank you as always, Norman.
No, it's fun. We have a bit of fun, Amanda. Don't worry. Don't mind about the banter. We have a bit of banter going on. There's a lot of wasn't that a great match, guys? To start with, wasn't that a fantastic match? Let's be honest. Forgetting the fact that Delhi Capitals lost and RCB won, both teams played very well, and I still believe we're looking at two teams that'll be in the top three and potentially finalists as well. Having Chris here, he'll talk about that at length. We were going to have Tabasha, but we haven't got him here today. We may have Keshav as well. Keshav will join us a bit later. He's also, I think, Amanda, you've met him before, haven't you? So Keshav will be here as well. We've got a very action-packed week on my channel because we have Adam Hollyoak joining us later on, Monty Panesar. We've got David Graveney. I've got Chris on occasion as well. We've got quite a few people that'll add a lot more spice to it, but it's good to have Amanda on. It's way past your bedtime, isn't it? And they'll actually way past your bedtime. But I think you've both been celebrating because, of course, RCB have won. All right, Amanda, you can start. Now, please keep it under an hour, your response, okay? You're going to be gloating, I know.
Yeah. Well, I think fantastic job by RCB. Honestly, I think, again, we've seen this so often. We've seen AB carry the team to a total like that. It's just, it's happened so many times that it's just expected out of him. And I'm honestly, as an RCB fan, I'm usually really optimistic when when there are games that finish this tight as well. So I was pretty optimistic throughout the game. Just at, I think, at one point when Hetmeyer started hitting, everyone was just at the edge of their seats. But I think overall it was an absolute thriller. I think Hetmeyer did a good job. I think Pant, a lot of people are blaming him for that, for taking the strike in that last over. But I think hats off to Siraj. I think Pant could have done the job just as easily, but I think Siraj really, bowled a really good last over to, just get over the line.
Well, his first three deliveries were essential, weren't they? He set the scene by that early. Yeah. Nilakshi, now you're an RCB fan. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think the RCB have set a pretty decent target, despite the fact that their opening batsmen failed to set up the platform. Until and unless if they came and completely dominated the middle overs.
Absolutely. Keep your your microphone sometimes might be closer to your mouth. It's a little bit faint, but otherwise it was good. Chris, now you've talked a fair bit already. I want you to go more into depth now about how this game panned out and what your thoughts were through the match.
Through the match. I thought Delhi bowled pretty well up front. Ishant Sharma obviously coming back in, looked good. But yeah, it was sort of the AB de Villiers show. I thought that Patadars came in and, the number 3 slot has been a little bit, is the one probably spot on the RCB side that they're not really sure about who is best filling it. But, he looked pretty good. He gave some initial support to Maxwell and then de Villiers. I just think Rishabh Pant probably showed his inexperienced captaincy today, with bat and in the field, leaving Stoinis to the last over was an interesting decision at best. Maybe he was trying to get de Villiers out early, but I think that he just showed some inexperience. And do you think that do you think the captaincy is weighing on Pant a little bit, with that as well? He certainly wasn't, he faced 40 odd balls, didn't hit a 6. And, arguably if we're being really critical, that's probably where the game was lost for Delhi. So, I think that AB de Villiers did, as Amanda said, did what he does best, and he's the best in the world, or one of the best in the world for a reason. So, I think that RCB will be very pleased to get over the line. Probably the scorecard flattered Delhi a little bit. It says they won by 1 run, but they were never really in it. I never thought that RCB were going to lose that game. So we'll just have to see how it pans out. But I would expect to see both of these guys in the top 4 come game 14.
Now, Anshuman Gulsam, who is in fact, Chris, Music Harmony. Read the comment out.
Hello, Norman. Back after a long time. RCB doing pretty well this time round. They are Music Harmony. It's good to see. We're very happy. Norman isn't.
Now, I didn't say it. I'm going to quote Chris here. It's too early. It's too early. It's too early. The reality is it is too early. But I think that we've got a lot of people interested to talk here. We've got people saying Ashok Tatani are very much a regular, talking about a fantastic game. You've got Manajon's talking about ABD kicked Stones in his. Oh, no, we shouldn't be commenting on that one. I'll change that one. Okay. This is a question I'd like to talk about. Milan, who's a regular from Austria. How's that, Amanda? We've got people from Austria listening in. So Milan says, can you read that, Amanda?
Does one of you have some news on tomorrow's Delhi pitch? Will it be a high-scoring ground, or is it expected to be on the slower side?
Now, we had some discussion in a previous comment from a fellow called Sadat, who's a person who's very experienced with this pitch. And what did he say, Chris?
Yeah, he expects it to be slow. Obviously, it's really hot in Delhi. He's a Delhi boy, so they expect it to be slow and the spinners to do well. And we won't be seeing many high-scoring games, which is a shame. But there we go.
That seems to be the theme of the tournament. I was hoping that we would see high-scoring games, but I think Kolkata and Bangalore may be the only two that will be high-scoring. Otherwise, we're going to see slow, frustrating matches. Who does that suit more, guys? Who does it suit more in terms of teams that bat or play well with a low score in mind? We know who play well with there's big scores. But...
Well, you would say that the pitches so far have been similar. Chennai certainly has been pretty hard to bat on, and you would think that it would suit the sides who have good middle-order batters. Such as RCB. They've got good players of spin in there with de Villiers, Kohli in there, so Maxwell. But yeah, it would just be nice to see a few fatter wickets, and maybe when we get to Kolkata and Bangalore, that we might be able to see a few there. But we'll just have to see how it goes.
I actually think it'll play into the hands of AB de Villiers because he's one of the rare batsmen who don't seem to be concerned about a slower turning pitch. He tends to still get his runs regardless of whether the pitch is low or a better bounce. Would you agree, Amanda?
Yeah. I think with AB, he can honestly bat against anyone, on any type of pitch. You've seen him bat in Chennai, you've seen him bat at Wankhede, you saw him bat today at Ahmedabad. So I honestly don't think the pitch affects AB in any sort of way. But then there are other certain type of batsmen who have trouble facing certain type of balls. Like I think Rishabh Pant has a bit of trouble facing the short balls, and there are batsmen like Shikhar Dhawan who have trouble batting on slow pitches. So I honestly, when it comes to AB, I don't think the change of venue is too much of a problem, but it definitely does affect the other batsmen. And honestly, if we're talking about the Mumbai pitch, I really don't know what happened to RCB because that is a batting pitch and that really confused me. So I didn't have anything to say after that match. But otherwise, I think RCB are dealing pretty well with the change in venues. They're adapting to the pitch really quickly. And I think, hopefully they have a couple of more matches in Ahmedabad and then they move on to Kolkata. So hopefully they adapt well for the rest of the games.
Okay. Okay. Now, we saw Ishant Sharma bowl today. He bowled well. He may not bowl every innings. What do you think of his bowling today? Nilakshi?
Yeah, he's a quality bowler. I mean, uh, seeing him bowling in white ball, taking wickets in white ball cricket is quite rare. But he bowled pretty well.
That's a good point. Chris, he doesn't bowl very often, does he, in white ball? He's more of a true
Yeah.
test bowler in the true sense of the word.
Yeah, he's and they probably, there's a lot to be taken from trying to prolong his career. England have done it well with Anderson and Broad. They haven't played white ball cricket for a long time. And domestically they don't even play 2020 cricket. So, I think that Ishant Sharma has been such a almost iconic figure in the seam polling department for India in the last few years that maybe the discussion is that you're going to be nursed and looked after in the white ball stuff, and it means you can play more Test cricket. So, but he's your old school classic. You don't look at Ishant Sharma and think slow balls or Yorkers. You think he's the typical old school hit the good length, that Test match sort of seam bowler. So, yeah, I don't think that he's necessarily suited totally to the IPL, but he bowled really well today.
Okay,
Do
I'm
you,
going to look this. Sorry, go ahead.
do you think Delhi Capitals bowling lineup are they in trouble losing uh, Ashwin?
Are they without a bowler? You're saying in terms of they're going to lose their ability? I don't think so. I think with both Akshar Patel and Mishra, they certainly make up for it, don't they?
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, two very good spinners, aren't they? Amit Mishra's sort of been around for donkey's years, hasn't he? He sort of must have played in nearly all IPLs, but Akshar Patel's obviously having probably riding the wave from his India debut against England in the Test series, and but he's always just been a solid IPL performer, hasn't he? Akshar Patel, he never pulls any trees up, but he does his job and gets on with it. So Delhi looks solid. I think that their side is a bit locked balanced. I think that they don't have enough batting to challenge. Obviously guys in their day, but I think they need a bit more consistency, a bit more depth in their batting to really challenge to win it, I think.
So your expression I haven't heard before. What was it again? You said won't pull up many trees. That's a new one for me. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, it's self-explanatory, really. Someone who doesn't set the world alight.
Okay. Although during some of the games against England, he took several wickets in the first few overs of the match. That's setting a team alight, I would argue.
Yeah, Test cricket's different to the IPL, but if you look at his IPL record, it's always just been solid, hasn't it? He's never a standout performer. He does a job and he does it well. But he's not a big wicket taker. He's more of a run conserver as opposed to a strike sort of bowler. So as a lot of the finger spinners are, they tie up an end and like a but yeah, he's a good asset for them to have, and they're happy he's back.
I think that would have influenced if Ashwin, obviously, for the likelihood of the pandemic, has decided when he was in Chennai to stay in Chennai because of his family. So, is he Chennai? He is Chennai, isn't he? So that's the reason why he stayed back. And he probably made a calculated decision knowing that the team has got other two quality spin bowlers and they can afford not to have him in the team. All right, Milan's got an earlier question. This is probably the one of the most important questions of the day, considering the way that the bowling was dealt with. I'll read it out. The burden of captaincy seems to be getting to Pant's head. He is restricting himself at times to play his unconventional shots. He was free-flowing in Indian colours. What do you think of that comment? Amanda, start.
Yeah, see, it's still Pant's early days in his captaincy. We can't judge him too quickly. He hasn't been taking the best decisions as we've seen in this game, although he did try defending himself by saying that Stoinis was the only bowler left. But he could have actually finished off, the spinners in the early overs and bowled Stoinis a little bit early and then kept someone like Rabada for the death overs. That was a poor decision made by him. And his unconventional shots, I've known Pant for like as long as I've seen him bat. He's an attacker. So today's innings was just a little bit odd. I didn't really expect to see him bat with a strike rate of around 100ish, because we've seen him attacking in tests. So why not attack in T20? So I thought today's innings was just a little bit off. He could have done a lot better. He's an attacker, not someone who completely anchors the innings. But yeah, the burden of captaincy, again, it's his early days. We can't judge him too quickly. He is taking help from Ponting, and he should be taking help from someone like Steve, who's been a captain before. So I think, yeah, it is pretty early, but I think he'll get better with time.
I agree. I totally agree.
I see Pant as a floater. If they lose early wickets, and then he will just come in around in that period, like 7 or 8 overs, and he will just dominate the middle overs.
Absolutely. We've just been joined by Keshav. How are you?
Got the chance, he always played a captain's innings, so it's not completely his fault. But yeah, Steve Smith could have done better today.
Okay. So everyone, I think Amanda, you've met Keshav before. Nilakshi hasn't met Keshav, and Chris Vernon hasn't met Keshav.
No, nice to meet you, mate.
Yeah, I've not met a couple of people here, so hello to them. It's been a pleasure knowing Norman, and I'm sure it will be a pleasure talking with Chris and Nilakshi both today. So thank you, Norman, for inviting me again today.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Now, we've been talking about today's game. What's your take, Keshav? You've come in at the right moment to bring your perspective on the game. Did you enjoy today?
I did. I mean, being from Delhi, it was a heartbreaking loss because I was supporting Delhi, of course. I've never supported RCB. I mean, even if RCB was playing against RCB, I would still not support them. But I'm sorry, Amanda, it's not really directed towards you. But
you better say sorry to Chris and Nilakshi too. They're all RCBers.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Not the greatest of starts for me with Chris and Nilakshi, but
Right.
yeah, but
Delhi second favorite team.
okay. Actually, my first favorite is CSK, but since I'm from Delhi, I support Delhi as a second favorite, and I live in Mumbai, so my third favorite becomes Mumbai. And I don't think I should be supporting more teams than 3 anyway. So today's game, I thought the team which took one less poor decision won the game, because if you see, Pant giving Stoinis that last over, and it made a huge difference. But it was just a 1-run loss. If RCB would have lost that, people would have been pointing out Kohli giving Jamieson the 18th over, isn't it? I mean, Jamieson is not a death bowler. Let's face that. And just because he bowled 3 good overs for 11 runs, which was during the beginning of the innings and in the middle, doesn't mean necessarily you just have to finish his quota, because in those 3 overs, he had the options of going to Daniel Sams. He had Mohammad Siraj, he had Hershel Patel, and still, he went to Jamieson. So that was bad captaincy for me on Kohli's part. And it was just a 1-run loss. I mean, it could have gone either way. And if they would have lost, I'm sure a lot of pundits would have pointed out that particular over, why he went with Jamieson. So yeah, the team which made one lesser mistake probably won today.
We've got a lot of great questions coming through. Chris, this is one for you. This is going back a little bit. Martin John must have missed you because he wanted to talk about Morgan's performance against Punjab Kings.
Yeah, I didn't see all of the game yesterday, but it's a captain's innings, isn't it? He's not had a great tournament so far, but When it really mattered, when the side really needed a captain's knock, he stood up and he sort of put his hand up and be counted. So no, fair play to him. It's something that he probably needed to do. He's had a quiet start, but certainly not a surprise. He's a captain that leads in the front and is often someone that can pull out a match-winning innings. So.
And another question. This is from our favourite friend, truly called Music Harmony. Amanda, you're an excellent reader-outerer. Can you read her out of that, please?
Okay. Do you think someone like Sam Billings can come in for Smith? Smith is a class batter, but I still feel he doesn't quite have the T20 game. Am I supposed to answer?
Well, if you want to.
Well, I haven't really observed Sam Billings in innings before, not too closely. I haven't seen him play as much, but I feel like they could go for someone like Sam Billings if they do have the option. It's not gonna hurt them. I think Delhi is in a good position. But I think Steve really brings that sort of experience to the side, right? Because he's been a captain for Rajasthan for a while. He's been through a lot during his entire career. So I feel like he has that sort of experience. And again, being a part of a side like Delhi and having such a young captain, I feel like Smith could really, balance out, because I think Delhi started off with a lot of youngsters. They started out with Rishabh Pant, Shreyas Iyer, and like a lot of them. But I think Smith coming in and, giving Pant advice, helping him out onto the field, like Glenn Maxwell, sometimes Virat, as experienced as he is, Glenn Maxwell still helps him with the fielding positions. So I feel like Steve Smith in the team, even though he isn't playing the best, I feel like him being a part of the playing 11 could really help Delhi in the long run.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
Keshav, I should introduce you to Anshuman Gautam. He's had the name for many months with Chris and I. His name was Music Harmony, and he's a musician. So you two need to connect because you may have some synergies. We may even bring Music Harmony on later if he wants to. I may send him the connection. If we may have an interesting little discussion later if he feels up to it.
I think Music Harmony's a Bangalorean as well. I think he's RCB fan, so I'm not sure he's too happy with Keshav. Maybe he'll decline the invitation if he keeps going on about Delhi. So.
Well, we'll wait to see. So
that's okay. And at the end of the day, it's just a game. So
of course,
the two musicians can always, come together. Okay, so we've got Ashok Datani says Pant lacks tactical ability. I don't agree. I think he's got a bit of a way to go before he's going to be a consummate captain, but I don't think he lacks tactics. His tactics are to take risks, to go on the front foot and do what he's best to win, which can't be bad tactics. What do you guys think about Pant's tactical ability so far? Chris?
Look, he's still just quite green as a captain, isn't he? He's inexperienced. He's not, he's pretty inexperienced as an international cricketer anyway. So his tactics are obviously not going to be at the same level as a Dhoni, as an Owen Morgan, as a Kane Williamson. Those guys that have been doing it for years. And I don't think he is. He's certainly not the main article, is he, in terms of a tactical captain? But he's learning, and that's the only way that you do that. So you learn on the job, and probably no better environment to do it than in an IPL season. So
now here we are. There's a bit of banter going on already. Casual, you need to read that out. You need to read it out.
I actually read it long back when it came, but yeah, I gave the three favorites with justified reasons. I am from Delhi, so I support them. I live in Mumbai, so I support them. And I've lived in Chennai for 6 years, so I support them. So what's the harm? No more, just three, yeah. And let me tell you, if CSK is playing against Mumbai or against Delhi, then outrightly CSK. So they are on the top.
Okay, here we have.
But talking
Okay,
about Pant's captaincy, just to add a point, do you think the strike rates he has had this season is actually a reflection of the extra responsibility he has taken as a captain? Because that's what we saw with KL Rahul as well last year. His strike rates went down. So do you think if Pant was not a captain, he would have still played this kind of a slow knock today?
Very, very good point. I think you are spot on. You'd even throw Kohli into that as well.
Yeah.
Kohli, Rahul, even Owen Morgan. There's quite a few captains that have played what you would argue to say are rather conservative batting performances when all four could probably unleash themselves. I think there's a lot of merit to that comment because I think that with the captaincy comes a burden. You are constantly thinking about the team and maybe not concentrating on your own batting performance, which I think is a fairly significant one indeed.
But did you think with Rahul and Pant, the other reason could be because for Punjab, Jai Richardson was batting at 7 at one point, and now for Delhi, Akshar Patel is batting at 7. So maybe since they don't bat as deep, that's why they're also taking this extra responsibility on their shoulders that I have to be there till the end.
Yeah, I definitely think that. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. You know, and I agree. Their batting lineup is short. Obviously, Shirazaya, obviously injured out for the whole IPL, which is a big miss. You know, he's been a permanent fixture for a number of years, and you know, picked for India on the back of his performances in the IPL. So he's obviously a big loss. But I don't see them being able to win an IPL tournament with Rabada batting at 8. You know, I don't, and Akshar Patel at 7. You know, they're at least one slot too high. You know, that Pant, Hetmeyer, and Stoinis in the middle aren't consistent enough to warrant that batting lineup. You know, Hetmeyer is at best inconsistent. You know, Pant scores is more consistent, but he's not someone you rely on in AB de Villiers' sort of role. So they're definitely missing a batter in there for sure.
Guys, we are joined by, I would argue, a cricketing royalty. If his screen works, we've got
and his
Mervyn
mic.
Richards.
You'd be able to hear him as well.
Sorry?
You'd be able to hear him as well, so it must be his mic as well.
Yeah. Well, Mervyn Richards is trying to get online. In fact, he should be on. Well, give him a second. If Mervyn Richards comes online, ladies and gentlemen, I think you've been. Do you know? Okay, quick ask around. Amanda, do you know who Mervyn Richards is? It's okay if you don't.
No.
Well, he is the brother of Sir Vivian Richards.
No way.
No way. Yes, absolutely.
I've
He's
got a
a regular.
picture of Vivian Richards right on my board there.
Sorry?
No. I said I've got a picture of Vivian Richards and Virat Kohli
Well,
right on my board there.
The fact is, Mervyn Richards would be trying to get in now. He's probably had a bit of an issue getting in. He's all the way from the Caribbean. He may have been watching the show, and he would be a special guest to have. I'm going to say try again. I'll just see if I can get him.
Yeah, the moment you got him on, I actually Googled him.
Well, yeah. So, guys, you'll be in for a treat. You're going to have someone who is very close to, and in fact, Amanda, when Mervyn Richards was younger, he was actually thought of as a better player than his brother Vivian. Would you believe?
And Google actually says he was a footballer as well.
He was a soccer player. Chris is shaking his head, but you won't. There's a book that's just come out from a guy called Ronan Matthew, who's actually
anyone ever said that Norman Kochnak was better than Viv Richards.
When did I say that?
Oh, you're saying that Merv was better or Norman was better?
I didn't say Norman. When did he get Norman?
Oh, right.
From?
I got it. Okay, my mistake.
Now, come on, guys. Back now. Did I say I was better than Vivian Richards? No.
You probably would have said you look better than Vivian Richards.
Yeah, well, that's
exactly,
true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, clearly that goes without saying. If you look at all my fan polls that I put out, I often put fan polls out, everyone, as you know. Chris Vernon rates about 3%. I get 58%.
And Norman,
Amanda's, sorry.
Norman, did you tell Chris that there was a Chris Vernon fan club commenting yesterday here?
Yes,
There's,
yes.
there's
I told him that.
there's a
Not
couple of them, Keshav.
And what they commented? Did you tell him what they commented?
I
Yes,
did.
I
I
did.
heard. Disgraceful.
We better not
Disgusting.
talk about that on air. It was
No.
not something we should be repeating on air. But anyway, yeah. Hopefully the Chris Vernon fan club doesn't come now. Amanda, there's about 95 Chris Vernon fan clubs, and they are nauseating. We don't know who they are. We still believe it's his family that are doing it, except for one rogue Indian fellow that's doing it. So, all right, let's see. Wonder how long it's going to take before we get a. I love the way Ray says hello to Kesha and Mara and Vernon, but not me. Thank you very much, Ray. We know where your bread's buttered. Thank you very much.
Why he keeps calling me Keshav Maharaj?
I don't know. You ask him.
He now comes up with I am Keshav Maharaj fan club.
Well, thank gosh the Chris Vernon fan club's not here yet.
Which one?
All right. Gareth Bale, Pat needs to improve his balance. He falls over to the offside to hit towards the leg side, so he struggles to powerfully hit through the offside. That is true. There's an element of him falling over himself, for sure. What do you guys think? Nalakshi or Amanda, what's your thoughts on Punt's batting?
He is a consistent batter. I don't think so. This type of things happens often. Today was not his day. I think he just had a bad day.
But isn't it funny? We do say that Punt didn't have a good day. He still scored 58.
See, okay, just imagine if he would have made one extra run, and we would have been praising him that wow, what a captain's knock he played. He held one end and let Shimron Hetmeyer do the big hitting from the other end. So I don't think it was a bad day per se as the batsman because they went 4 down quite quickly. So he had to do that kind of a role. But with when DC was fielding, then probably yes, you can say he had a bad day, and he has been having those kind of bad days, especially the miscalculation he does. In a game, he didn't give Chris Wokes the over. In a game, he didn't give Ravichandran Ashwin 1 over. And today, once again, he bowled Stoinis at the end when, if at all he had to bowl him, he should have done that in the middle overs.
Very true. Very true. It is amazing, isn't it? You're so right. If the Punt had hit a 6 off the last ball, how would that have changed our discussion today? Chris, what would you be saying differently had Punt hit a 6 as opposed to a 4 that last ball?
Oh, it's impossible to say, but I would have probably said something like Shimron Hetmeyer, hats off to you. That's the only reason that Delhi came anywhere near winning that game was because he played one of the best innings that the IPL will see this season. He scored 50 odd of 20 balls when, Rishabh Pant was clearly struggling at the other end to get it away. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't think at any point that RCB were going to lose the game. I thought that they should have made it a lot more comfortably than they did. But I don't. I think that the only reason they got close was because Shimron Hetmeyer. I don't think Rishabh Pant, did anything much to get them there that close.
Okay. I need to clear this up because Ray and a few other people are saying it. No, Amanda is not related to Matthew Hayden. Would you get your spelling right?
And can I also clear something up? I am not related to Keshav Maharaj as well.
Where is that one? Hang on. I'll find it.
Who is
So,
Keshav Maharaj?
yeah. So
You don't know
I think
Keshav Maharaj? He's a South African cricketer.
Oh,
He's a spin bowler, isn't he?
Spinner.
Okay, there's a other comment that I think is interesting, and there's one about this. This is a comment that we wanted to all discuss. We've all seen Avish Khan bowl. Is he knocking on the door of national Indian team selection after his performances?
I don't know
Amanda?
enough about him. Is it his first year? I don't know how he's done domestically, so I can't really comment too much on him. But he's certainly impressive.
Well, he's been taking a lot of wickets.
Chris,
Go ahead,
do
Alakshi.
you think Hershel Patel is a sustainable long-term bowler, or is
I
he
think
better
that he's been a bit of a revelation for RCB. I don't believe for a second that Delhi would have let him go if they thought he would have bowled and taken as many wickets as he has. And I think that he's probably riding the wave at the moment. So I wouldn't expect him to keep up taking. I think the worst. I think he's taken at least 2 wickets in every game, which is just ridiculous, really, for a seam, well, for any bowler in an IPL game. So I think they'll just keep going with him until he shows signs of weakness. But he just seems to have a golden arm at the moment, doesn't he?
But I have a point there. Sorry, Nilakshi, please go ahead.
No, who is better, Avesh Khan or Hershel?
I think they are both different kind of bowlers. Amanda is saying Hershel because he plays for RCB, but they have different roles, and the kind of bowling variations they have. I think Avesh is more suited to new ball and middle overs, and Hershel is a death over specialist. But my point was, yes, Hershel has taken 17 wickets in 6 games. But did you realize that the 2 games they played at Wankhede, which was the proper batting wicket, where there was nothing for bowlers, he actually went for 97 runs in 8 overs. So there's a comment which says Hershel Patel can only bowl well on specific wickets where there's a bit for the bowlers. So just the one time or the couple of times there was a wicket where actually it was challenging for bowlers, he went for runs, and we all saw what happened against Jadeja. So I think it's too soon for us to conclude about him, because I think RCB has to play after this. I think they go to Kolkata, if I'm not wrong, and Italy again, a belt of a pitch. So let's see how he does on different venues, and then only conclude. Because right now he has mostly bowled on Chennai pitches, which was having something for the bowlers, and it was a nightmare for batsmen, except if you are a AB or if you are a freak, then only you could do well on those pitches.
I love the fan commentary. When they start making comments, they start talking between themselves. They kind of forget they can talk to us. So Gareth Bale said, "I feel Hershel is like when it catches.
No.
He will struggle to
He's
get
better.
it up." And
He's better than that.
Okay, he's better than that, you reckon?
Yeah, but Hershel is also a lot more consistent than Avesh Khan. Hershel has been taking wickets in his first couple of overs, and he's been taking really, really crucial wickets. Avesh Khan did take Kohli today, but if you knock out Mumbai Indians 3, 4, 5, 6 number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6 batsmen, then you're really contributing much more to the team than Avesh Khan is contributing to Delhi. And I'm not just saying this because I'm an RCB fan, but because getting crucial wickets like that really does change the game. Like Avesh didn't really change the game by getting Kohli out today. I think if he had got AB out, it would have made a world of a difference.
We're getting lots of questions, guys. We're getting lots of questions. A lot of revving up here. Now, Mervyn Richards is having internet problems, which is very typical for Antigua. Do you all, Amanda and Alakshi and Krishna, tell me what you know about Antigua. Where is Antigua?
I can hear the echo of your voice from somebody, so if we can mute ourselves.
Yeah, we all mute if you're not talking. Okay.
Oh, it's only from Amanda. Okay.
All right. Amanda, you can go on. You talk, Amanda. Go on. I want you to talk. Where is Antigua? You got one guess.
I have no idea.
Well, Antigua is in. Okay, someone else. Chris, where's Antigua? You've
In the West Indies. I have been to Antigua. Yeah, it's in the Caribbean.
It's Amanda. It's the
I
island where
felt like that was a trick question because I was going to say West Indies, but then I felt like you were tricking me some
But
way. So
no,
Norman, I think maybe a lot of people might not know that there's no country called West Indies, even in the comment section. Then
correct.
we should, or you should probably tell them that West Indies is a group of different island countries, and Antigua is one of them.
Okay, let me explain the situation in full. The term West Indies is not a country. It's actually a bringing together of such groups as the Leeward Islands, the Windward Islands, a whole string of islands that are included in the West Indies. Although it's an interesting concept to start with. It includes countries like Antigua, Barbados, Jamaica, St. Lucia. The list goes on. There's some Kitts and Nevis. There's probably about, I'm going to guess now, maybe 20 islands that are all individual countries. So for the Olympics, Antigua will be represented as a country. Barbados, Jamaica is very famous for having the fastest runners. But Antigua in particular is important. It's actually called Antigua and Barbuda. There's two islands in the one group, like Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts and Nevis. Antigua is the home, Amanda, of Sir Vivian Richards, is the home of Curtly Ambrose, of Andy Roberts, of Richie Richardson, of Ridley Jacob, David Joseph. All these players, they've all played, Winston Benjamin, they've all played for the West Indies. Amazing country, and also Mervyn Richards from there. It is very, very small. If Mervyn Richards was here now, he'd be talking about the fact that there is a beach for every day of the year. There are 365 beaches, and they find an extra beach when it's a leap year. That's a joke, but it's quite an incredible place. Chris has played cricket there. Did you get ducks there? How many runs did you get there, Chris?
I was only 13. I went on school cricket tour. I didn't get a duck. I didn't score many runs there. I was quite young. It was first team cricket tour, so I was about 5 years young. But no, it's a great place, that's for sure. Very laid back, very chilled out, and very hot.
You were 13 then?
Okay. Yeah. I think it was 2005, 2006, something like that.
I was 13, a lot earlier than that, I can tell you that much. All right. Nobody start guessing, otherwise you'll be in big trouble. Okay.
1950.
1950. Oh, where's the delete button? Where's the delete button, guys? Quick, let me find that delete button. Don't worry, man. There's some fights that'll start before too long. Let's have a look here. What do you think of this comment? Would Shreyas Iyer have been a better captain for Delhi?
Absolutely,
I think. I feel Ricky Ponting is captaining Delhi from the dugout. I mean, both Shreyas Iyer and Rishabh Pant are kind of doing what he dictates probably from the dugout, or the planning they do in the team meetings, because Delhi is so visibly a coach-driven team. So for me, I think they are not really missing Shreyas Iyer, the captain, as much they're missing Shreyas Iyer, the batsman.
Okay.
But there was something. I had watched this video of Shreyas Iyer. I think there was this quiz kind of thing, and apparently his strike rate hasn't dropped at all since he's become the captain. In fact, it's improved. So I feel like, I mean, he isn't too much under pressure as a captain. He's doing a good job. He led his team into the finals last year, and according to this interview that I saw, that Shreyas Iyer's strike rate has actually been improving since he's become a captain. I feel like, everyone talks about how their strike rate and how their performance and how captaincy, sort of gets in the way of their batting performance. When it comes to Shreyas Iyer, it hasn't. So I feel like he's doing a good job. But, at the same time, again, Rishabh Pant, it's too early to judge him. And like I said earlier, that he will get better over time if he continues.
I think it's the best way that he'll learn. The way that he's performing now, we're fine-tooth combing everything that Pant is doing as captain. I think we need to give him a break. The guy has almost won another match. Despite the mistakes, he still went very close to winning the match. He scored 58 runs. Okay, his strike rate wasn't brilliant, but he steered the innings, you could argue, and could well have won the match. Even though Hetmeyer was hitting big, he was there as the backbone. And I think that's an incredibly good sign for Punt. Even though we'd like to see him go crazy, he's still showing immense value as a captain. And I think hats off to him.
I think we have just come to expect more from him.
That's true. Very true. We do expect too much from him. There's some comments that I'm finding hard. What do you think of this? Comment, Chris.
I don't know if Smith justifies his place in the side at the moment. But, in terms of captaincy experience, you'd have thought that he would have certainly not been a bad option. I might have just given it to Shikhar Dhawan. He's been around block. He's an experienced campaigner. He's certainly a key player in that side. So, they've obviously taken a long-term view with Pant and seeing how he goes. And, I think everyone's hoping he does well. It's never nice to see someone not do well. And, he has scored a few runs. But I think there's just a few things that maybe he'll look back in hindsight that he could have done a bit differently. So that's all.
I mean, in all honesty, I want to see what Punt does in the dressing room. I don't know whether the Delhi Capitals videos have shown Punt giving any briefings to the team. Has anyone seen that happen? I've seen Ricky Ponting do it many occasions.
See, that's why I said Ricky Ponting is the actual captain who's running the team. But if they had to look for other options and if they had to look at the future, then maybe Prithvi Shaw was also another contender because he's captained India at under 19 level, won the World Cup actually for India. Recently, he also captains the Mumbai side domestically. He was the captain in Vijay Hazare Trophy where he broke all the records with the bat as well. So he could have been one option, but since Pant is a more senior pro in IPL and also, as an Indian international, so maybe they went with him, and I don't think they would change him in the middle of the season, even if Delhi were to lose. There was a comment in between that we are just assuming that Pant is a temporary captain and Shreyas Iyer will replace him. I mean, I don't know how much you would agree with that. That I think even if Delhi wins IPL with Pant, once Iyer comes back, I think they would still go back to him for the sheer loyalty.
Okay. Chris is about to go, so I'll get him to answer these questions. What about Rahane? Would you have him as captain?
Is he with Delhi or is he? Yeah, he's with Delhi.
Yeah.
He's probably not the worst option to have maybe in the side. If we think they're bowling like why, I think that Rahane probably adds as much as someone like Steve Smith would. And if you bring Rahane in for Steve Smith, you can then bring a Chris Wokes in down the order in place of maybe even an Ishant Sharma to strengthen the batting and the bowling. So it might be something they look. I think they're still trying to work out the best balance of their side, but he's Test match wise, he's proven himself to be a decent captain after the Test series in Australia.
Okay. All right.
But I don't think DC can afford to have Rahane and Smith both together in that 11 because they're kind of similar kind of batsmen, and the only place they can actually bat is in the top 3. So you have room for just one of them, right?
Yeah, it's such a frustrating tournament, the IPL, because we've got so many players that probably just would be leading their countries, like Rahane, that are not even playing. Malan's not even playing. Chris Wokes is rarely getting a game. Zampa has gone home, didn't get a game. There's so many players that really, if they were, of course we're getting a 9th team, aren't we, next year? It looks as though we'll get a so-called Ahmedabad/Gujarat team coming in to take on the ground at Ahmedabad. We will have some of those players in that new auction next year that'll bring about a change. Very
2 more teams, not 1, 2 more teams.
Well, it's definitely 1. The 10th team is not certain at this point. I think there's still discussion about whether there might be a 10th side. So you're right. There are 2 teams in contention, but there's one certainty with one having to be decided as to where they will be. Okay. Chris, any parting words before you go?
No, I just happy to see RCB chalk up another win. I certainly see them pretty much guaranteed into the top 4, barring a complete implosion. And just looking forward to seeing how the pitches play at Delhi tomorrow. Is it the Kotler Stadium? Is that Delhi? Is that right? And then just see how the next games pan out over the coming days.
And that is the next game. Is it CSK versus SRH?
I think Hyderabad will win tomorrow.
Really?
I think CSK.
Amanda?
Because Dhoni's captainship.
Because
and,
who?
Dhoni.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with go ahead.
And the bowling setting up, so it's good to see CSK.
Okay. Amanda?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Hyderabad.
Yeah, interesting. Cashew, who do you think's going to win?
I told you in the beginning, if it's CSK playing, then it doesn't matter who's playing against them. Yeah.
Silly question. But you could just say CSK. That would have been enough. All right.
I think the Sunrise Hyderabad, they are more dependent on the overseas players.
I would agree with that. And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, the Indian players should also step up.
Okay, this is true. Most teams I do think teams that have got more Indian domestic players are going to fare better. Don't you all think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's why the strength of the Mumbai Indians over the years. Then again, you look at the CSK side, the CSK, that's the football side. The CSK side, they're 2 of their best players this season have been to overseas as well. In Moeen Ali and Sam Curran. So they're relying. They're getting the best out of Moeen Ali batting at 3, and Faf du Plessis as well. So there's 3 of their overseas who have, like Faf du Plessis certainly been their best batter, and Moeen Ali's been a massive cog in that wheel for him. So they're 2 sides tomorrow that've got some good overseas, and I just look at if it's going to be a spinning wicket. I see Hyderabad spinners being better than CSK's, even with Ravi Jadeja and Moeen Ali in there. So,
yeah, but Chris, don't you think CSK, the last game they played, I mean, there was no Moeen Ali, and there have been contributions from Indian players as well, like Chahar picking up a couple of 3-wicket hauls, and Jadeja in the last game, with both bat and ball and in the field. And then there was a 50 from Raina as well, if I'm not wrong, in the first game. So they have had important contributions from domestic players, unlike SRH, because yes, Manish Pandey has made runs, one could say, but they have not been impactful runs in winning calls.
And
No,
I
I agree with you, Keshav, that Ravi Jadeja is probably one of the best players in the tournament, isn't he? Let's face it. He obviously had a good game against RCB. Had one good over at the end, where RCB probably the better side in the first 19 overs of that match, and then obviously he bowled well. But I just think that Chennai have obviously been on a good roll so far. They're quite an old side that they've got a lot of experience, and that's probably what they're playing off a lot at the moment. With Faf du Plessis, Dhoni, Jadeja, Dwayne Bravo, and Rayudu, Raina. They're all old timers really in terms of their cricket careers. So I see that Hyderabad have a really, really decent side. With Warner, Bairstow, Williamson, Rashid Khan, and they've only won one game, and I'm expecting I'm expecting a fight back or a bounce back at some point.
Do you see Manish Pandey coming back tomorrow, maybe in place of Virat Singh?
I don't know enough about. I haven't been following it closely. I assume that he'll come back in if they can get him in. So I obviously Nat Duran and Bhuvi Kumar being missed, but I'm expecting the Delhi pitches to suit the bowlers. So the spinners, not the seamers. So hopefully that I'm expecting a Rashid Khan might do quite well tomorrow, and he might take some wickets.
So I'm just trying to work out. We've had a few people say that SRH will actually beat CSK, not Keshav, of course. It doesn't. There's no logic to that because CSK have really led the way, and SRH have actually not. So I'm struggling with it. Do you think it's because CSK need a bad game? Is that what we think?
No, I think they are probably basing it upon the fact that Delhi might be a venue conducive to spinners, and since SRH has Rashid Khan, so he alone could be better than Jadeja and Imran Tahir. And I don't know if Moeen Ali play tomorrow. It will be a difficult decision for Dhoni whether to play Moeen in place of Dwayne Bravo or maybe Imran Tahir, because Delhi, I think this pitch will suit them kind of like Chepauk, and Imran Tahir has played at Delhi for Delhi in past, so I don't think he could be dropped. So maybe if Moeen Ali is fit, he might replace Dwayne Bravo, isn't it?
You also got to remember, Norman, that Sunrisers, they lost to a super over to Delhi, and they blew up. They should have beaten Royal Challengers. They completely collapsed. So they've actually come really close. They probably should have won the super over against Delhi. So, they're getting pretty close. And, the players they've got, I'm expecting to see a comeback or a fight back at some point. So, I certainly wouldn't be saying that if Sunrisers were to win tomorrow, it'd be a shock. I think that it's two very even sides. One has just had the rub of the green slightly so far, a bit of luck in the results, and the others have just come out the wrong side of a couple of close games. But, I don't put much between the two sides going into tomorrow for sure.
Well, the reality is SRH literally have to win tomorrow, don't they, really? Because if they lose another match, they could put them anywhere from 6 points plus behind the top four, which will be very, very hard to draw back, you would argue. So I think it's a must-win for SRH. Maybe their edge will bring them to a victory. Let's see. All right. Chris, you let me know when you want to leave because we'll...
Yeah, I'm head off now. That's right. Okay.
All right. Everyone say goodbye to Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Bye,
See you,
Chris.
mate.
Nice to see you.
Goodbye, Chris.
See you.
Pleasure. Yeah, pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, and you guys. And I'll see you at some point, Norman.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. Talk soon.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Ciao.
See you.
You realise, guys, that Chris and I have had a long history together. We have a show called An Aussie and a Pom Talk All Things Cricket. I've been there, and he and I have been on throughout the whole series, and he's been with me from parts of the Australian series, Indian series. He's been a great connection, and obviously Mervyn Richards is trying his level best to get back in. He has internet problems galore, and it's a pity that. Please, girls, we might let you stay a bit longer because if he's on, it's a pleasure to have him on. It's absolute cricket royalty. If a man look through some of my older videos, you'll see Mervin's been on a lot of my videos, and we've actually crossed him in Antigua, and he is like he's like the father figure. Even though he's a year younger than Vivian Richards, he's the father figure of them all. He seems to hold them all together. There's a certain area called I think it's called Ovals, and all the young people at that stage in a very small village played cricket together with one knee on the ground, and this game, a hybrid game of cricket, and that's how Vivian Richards came to fruition. It's an amazing story. It's a great book from a guy called Ronan Matthew. I would recommend you get it. It's just come out. It's superb. All right, Keshav, as well for you. Even though Anshuman Kumar, who's known Music Harmony, is a competitor of yours, we should get you on one day together. In fact, if you're there, Music Harmony, send me your email. I'll get you onto the show if you can. What do you think of this comment from Music Harmony, everyone? Do you think Mumbai Indians are still in there with a chance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the kind of side they are, and you can't really write them off, because if you remember in 2015, they lost 5 out of their first 6 games, and yet they ended up winning the IPL. So if they can make a comeback from that position, I'm sure they can come back from any position. And even this year, they look like a shadow of themselves, how they played last year. But since other teams are suffering already, like Punjab and Rajasthan and SRH and KKR, they're not played up to the expectations, and especially with RR, a lot of important players have gone. So because of that, also I think Mumbai should be able to make it to the playoffs. And he said they just know how to win, so that way CSK has actually played more playoffs. They've played every season except for the last one, so even they would know. So I mean, people do want to see a new winner this year, but definitely not Mumbai, because they've already won 5, man. How much more do you want?
Even though Mumbai did what they did those years back, you can't keep doing it. They have actually, I think they've reached a bit of a brick wall. Still have a great side. There's comments there about CSK, who they play in the finals. That'll suit you, Keshav. What do you think of that?
RCB
I'm
or
sorry, your
Delhi?
voice was breaking.
I just said, Keshav, if CSK make the final, who are they playing? Nilakshi just said RCB or Delhi. Amanda? Are you saying
RCB.
Of course. I think Keshav would prefer to have Rajasthan Royals, wouldn't you? Someone that they
I think KKR might surprise us all, and they would be a team to look out for in the second half of IPL.
You're kidding, aren't you? You're kidding. You've got to be kidding. KKR.
I'm not. I'm not saying that they will play the finals, but I'm just saying they might surprise you. They should be reaching top 4 for me. I mean, that's my prediction, and I could be wrong, but that's just what I think right now of them, because Delhi has a new captain, RR has a new captain, very young captain, so I don't see them going the distance right now. And Morgan, he's also back in the form, so you might see KKR rising from here on.
I mean, Shreyas Iyer was a new captain. He got his team to the finals.
Yeah, but Shreyas Iyer is, for me, he's a better captain on paper at least than Rishabh Pant. Rishabh, we have seen his batting has been affected. You only pointed out, right, that Shreyas' batting didn't get affected after the captains. But Rishabh Pant's strike rate, we've already seen a dip there. So I think Delhi might not be able to go the distance.
You're
I
kidding.
have a question. I feel like
Norman is completely surprised by my predictions.
okay.
Are you drinking something funny there? That's some crazy. I'm sorry, I don't agree with it all. Okay,
No,
Amanda, go ahead.
Who do you think this whole thing of not being able to play in their home ground has affected the most? Do you think it might be Mumbai? Because I feel like Mumbai has been affected the most by this whole not playing in their home ground situation.
I initially would say I thought CSK would be the most affected, but it doesn't look like it the way they're playing. But yeah, Mumbai Indians probably, and partly Delhi, and definitely Kolkata Knight Riders. Definitely, their home ground is very significant. What do you think, Nilakshi?
No, I agree with Keshav. If Morgan is consistent with his batting, or then they might have some confidence, and they might surprise you, maybe. But it's still too early.
But the question was more about who. Amanda asked what team has suffered the most not playing at home.
See, I think that this new format of IPL this year, it was probably challenging for every team, and I think the better teams would emerge out of these because the other day how we were talking that the Chennai pitch was so difficult that it actually separated great batsmen from good batsmen. So this IPL format might also separate the good teams from maybe average teams because everyone has to play different venues and they have to adapt to the conditions. And the good thing is they probably made the teams keeping in mind their home grounds. So in a way, they're all at in a level playing field. So that way, I think this is going to be one of the closer IPLs. Doesn't look like right now, but once we get to the business end of the IPL, I think this should be close one. And there's a comment who's asking again and again, team to finish last. I think we would all agree it's Rajasthan because of the resources they've lost.
I tell you what, if SRH lose tomorrow, they're quite distinctly last two, aren't they? We can't. I mean, I know that SRH on paper should be doing a lot better, but if they keep losing, it doesn't provide a very good atmosphere for them. No, you think Rajasthan Royals will have to be last? I would agree, yes.
By the way, before the IPL started, I predicted then that RR might finish last. So just to let everyone know that it wasn't after they lost Stokes and Archer and all their, Livingston and Andrew Tye or anyone. I made the prediction before the IPL started.
RR has always been my least favorite team.
Why?
I think they just don't like.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta feel bad for Sanju Samson after that loss against Punjab. I felt so bad, even though they might be, not my favorite team, but I was just absolutely.
Only one favorite player from Riyan Parag. Actually, I do support him because he's from my state, Assam.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
Amanda, did you feel bad for Rishabh Pant today?
If you ask, then I did feel bad for him, but I'm just too happy because of the win.
Yeah, so
Like,
that's where I was coming to. If Sanju Samson had lost to Bangalore in that game, I don't think you would have felt that bad for him.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I actually do feel pretty bad for people who almost get their team across the line. But I think against India versus England, Sam Curran almost took his team home, and when they just fell short, I felt really really bad for him. Although I did enjoy the win, I did feel really bad for Sam because he's a youngster. He's I think 22, if I'm not wrong, 2022, around that age. And he almost Sam Curran.
Yeah.
The India versus England series, right? He almost took his entire.
Okay, I want to interrupt you. We've got someone new who's come on who's asking a few questions. Explore the internet, whoever that is. Why is Nareen given a chance at 4, whereas Shakib was given a chance at 5, 6, 7? So in other words, why is Nareen? What is going on with those two players? It's quite.
That's a good question.
Mystery.
That's a very good question.
It's a hard one to answer. Actually, it's confusion central. The way that, and this is a KKR problem, is it not? The way they're selecting their side, is it Brendan McCullum or Owen Morgan who's deciding their batting lineup?
I think maybe the situation where Shakib was playing, the situation demanded for him to be going down and the big hitters to come before him. So we'll need to go back to those matches and compare the match situation maybe. And when Narayan was probably given a chance at 4, I'm sure if Shakib was playing that game, so he's probably referring to the game yesterday because they lost, I think, a couple of early wickets. So I'm very sure that if Shakib was playing that game, he would have been sent at 4 as well.
Yeah, I think he's been undervalued, Shakib. He's had a couple of off batting performances and he hasn't got back in the side.
there's a very
Right.
strong statement by Explore the Internet later on. He says, "Mark my words, RR will make the playoffs."
I thought the same thing. I liked your first question, explore the internet, but your second one concerns me.
Yeah, but you know what, Norman? If this comes true, he'll make all of us look like fools.
It will. It will. I mean, look, don't forget, India beat Australia in Australia with 9 players out. So
Yeah.
I guess anything's possible. But it's going to have to be pretty soon. Okay. Well, we would like to get that comment from Mervyn, but he's not online, so we can't answer that. Is playing the IPL during raging COVID hurting IPL brand image? I don't think so. What do you guys think? Amanda and Alakshi, are you happy that they're playing, or are you concerned that they're playing? Amanda, go. You're on
I
mute.
think
Yeah,
as
Go ahead.
Go
Go
on.
ahead. Go ahead.
Go on,
No,
Alakshi.
no, no.
Are you
no,
all? Someone
I
start.
think as long as they are maintaining the bubble, there's nothing to worry about. And during this dark time, it's good to see something interesting going on TV. So I don't think they should cancel the IPL.
Good, Amanda.
Yeah, I think we did speak about this.
Before.
Yeah, we did speak about this. Yeah, like I'm just gonna say the same thing again because same opinion. But initially, I think see now Bangalore has it's just horrible. The COVID's horrible here. We have our lockdown started already, so now no one's allowed to step out. So initially, I feel like the IPL, if it was meant to be, for the sole purpose of keeping people at home and not stepping out of their house, then it didn't work. But definitely now with I don't know, I mean, with COVID getting worse, it's for the viewers it's better, having IPL, but for the families, for all the cricketers' families, it is a big risk. But again, as long as they're taking a lot of these precautions and COVID tests every other day, then I think they should be fine. But at the same time, we should really appreciate everyone who's trying to make this work for us. And I feel like they deserve a lot more appreciation for this.
I mean, this is a very medical answer or question answer to bring up. I would argue the fact is that we have to look at one thing here, which is very relevant. Cricketers are very fit. Nalakshi can't hear me. Nalakshi. Cricketers are generally very fit individuals, and they tend to be people who are very much able to their health. Even if they did get COVID, they're unlikely to suffer greatly. So I know it's not a nice thing to talk about, but it's true. They're very unlikely to be a target group that would suffer to a point of distraction. It would not be debilitating to them. Nalakshi, sorry, I've interrupted you.
I'm gonna have to go now. Actually, it's raining heavily over here. I can't listen.
It's raining, is it?
I can't hear anything actually. Can I go now?
Yeah, sure. Thanks,
Bye
Nalakshi.
bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye, Keshav.
Okay, now I like this. I like when we've got 3. We all of a sudden seem closer to the screen. Isn't it funny how and Amanda pulls back? Why did you pull back there? Just see nice one. Now, I'm so frustrated. We were that close to getting Merv Richards online. He got on. He obviously went to the point of getting on, and his internet's gone bang. Just Amanda, for your sake, you have to have an education on. One day we'll get in the near future. We'll get Mervyn to talk about Antigua. Mervyn's capable in his lounge room, sitting there talking to me, and he could have Viv Richards walk in the back of the room and visit and leave.
Oh my God.
Do you realise that, Kesha? Can you imagine that? We have Viv Richards walking in. They are the most communal, the most village-like feeling I've ever experienced in the world. Antigua, people drop in and out of people's houses like there's no tomorrow. All the cricketers go to the Antigua recreational ground. And if you look through my Facebook, if you haven't seen it, my social media, I have a complete package of photographs on my time with Antigua. And there's actually a video I've put together on my page about my time in Antigua. Guys, go through my list of videos and look for the video where I talk about Antigua. I'm not going to bore you with it now, but I talk about how I met a guy called Shipwreck and how he took me through Antigua. And I met every single player on the island casually, walking around. Shipwreck would have a mobile phone to his ear and be ringing people. Okay, guys, shall I bore you for 5 minutes about the story? Do you want me to bore you with this? Are you ready for this?
No, us.
It's your platform. You should not
All right.
think about it. Yeah.
Okay, right. 2010, this is more than 10 years ago now. I had taken regular trips to Sri Lanka. 5 or 6 teams, we went to Sri Lanka. We had guys like Chris Lynn, Ben Cutting, Ben Dunk, all these great young cricketers on these tours, okay? All became Australian players. I decided to do something different. I wanted to go to the West Indies. I wanted to bring these people to those countries. So I contacted the West Indies Cricket Board, made contact. A lady called, I've forgotten her name now. A lady who contacted me, she replied and said, you must contact a guy called Shipwreck. I've got Shipwreck? Who's called Shipwreck? So Shipwreck, I had his details. His name was Stanfield Joseph. I tried to contact him. I couldn't get through by mobile, email, nothing. I was in Florida. I flew down to Antigua on a hunch. I landed in Antigua, came to customs. Who was at customs? His wife. She escorted me through the airport. Out the back was a guy called Shipwreck in a little Jeep. He took me in his car. I couldn't understand a word he was saying. His English was very muffled. I couldn't understand a word. He laughed, I laughed. I didn't know what he was saying. He took me to a building called the Minister of Sports office. I went up the back stairs into the room. Who was sitting there? I met 2 gentlemen. One was called Mervyn Richards. I thought, oh, that's a famous name. Who are you? I'm actually Vivian Richards' brother. And I got all excited, right? As Amanda always said earlier. I'm sitting there talking to Mervyn Richards all about, Viv, etc. Shipwreck has an old Nokia phone to his ear, and he's walking around. He never sits down. And he taps me on the shoulder and goes, Norman, come. I'm going, I'm not going anywhere. I've just met Mervyn Richards. I want to talk to him. No, Shipwreck said, come with me, come. I said, all right. I rather angrily got up with him, left Mervyn Richards after meeting for 5-10 minutes. We got back in his car. We went to a golf course, went to a car park. Who was at the golf course?
Vivian Richards?
Vivian Richards. I was in the country for less than an hour. Shipwreck took me to meet his brother. Then I've met Vivian Richards on a golf course. Can you believe that? And this is absolutely true.
When was this?
2010.
Okay. So was it around the time World T20 was happening in West Indies?
No, there was no tournament. I don't remember any tournament happening at that time. No, that was about September, October. I think it was October of 2010. Okay, so I met Viv Richards. I at least Shipwreck this time. Still walking around, still on the mobile phone, talking to the next person. I'm speaking with Viv. Had a great chat with him. We had a long discussion. Enjoyed that. Did all the things you do, and then moved on with Mervyn. He took me back in Shipwreck, back in the car. We went into town. There was a vehicle there that he'd been ringing this person to a rather older man and a woman. The window wound down. It was Andy Roberts. Andy Roberts was a fast bowler for West Indies.
Yeah.
It just happened like that. Everywhere I went, Shipwreck was constantly on his mobile phone, organising the next person. When I was speaking to Andy Roberts, Shipwreck hands me the phone. Says, here you are. Here's the phone. Talk to this person. I get the phone and I say hello. And he goes, hi, Norman. This is Curtly Ambrose. Come tonight. I'm going to play with my rock band called Spirited with Richie Richardson. Come and join us. Can you believe this? I've been in the country for an hour and a half. I've met Mervyn Richards, Vivian Richards, Andy Roberts. I'm talking to Curtly Ambrose, and I'm going with Richie Richardson that night. That all happened within minutes. Unbelievable. And it goes
You
on
should
and on and on.
you should write a book about it.
Oh,
Yes.
honestly, I've scratched the surface. It got more and more amazing. I then went. There's a video on my channel. You need to see this. All this is explained in absolute detail. Okay. So another thing happened. I went with Shipwreck to my hotel. So I've just met all these people. Right, I'm quite shocked. We go to the Jolly. I'll go to my hotel. He goes, no. You're staying in this hotel. He takes me the other side of the island to a beach called Jolly Beach, which is the most beautiful beach in the world. Google Jolly Beach. Okay? You must Google Jolly Beach. So Jolly Beach is there. I don't want to stay there, but he's making me stay there. I'm on the queue, a very small queue to check in, and I've got a man in front of me, and he speaks to me, and I don't know who he is. Shipwreck is laughing. I'm going, why are you laughing? You're speaking to Darren Sammy. Darren Sammy, captain of the West Indies, was getting married the next day at the hotel.
So now, don't tell me you were invited to that
No,
wedding as
actually,
well.
now that's one thing I wasn't. I didn't go to the wedding. But Shipwreck had all these things planned. We would go through villages. He would take me to a back road, a house. There's Ridley Jacob, who played for West Indies. Another back road, David Joseph, played for West Indies. Then all these things happen. The next morning, I'm going with him to a place. It looks like a doctor's surgery. I don't know what was going on. He sits me down. I'm seeing pictures of Barack Obama on the wall or whatever. I think, okay. So I went around the back and I meet up with a man who I didn't know. He was the Prime Minister of Antigua.
That was the only thing left in your story.
Shipwreck introduced me to everybody. Shipwreck knew everybody on the island. Everybody. Anyway, I went to, I can talk forever. I'll tell you another quick story. I went from there on a day trip to Montserrat, which is an island near Antigua. Okay. I've had a great time in Antigua. I'm starting to get cocky. I'm thinking I'm going to meet all these people. Montserrat, I knew nobody. The police officer was one police officer, one security guard at the airport. Nobody. One person was on the plane. They said to me, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm coming to see Montserrat." And they said, "Are you mad? It's a Sunday. Everybody's at church. No one's doing anything. Nothing's open. You idiot. What are you doing here?" And I felt really bad, right? The one taxi driver at the front took me and he goes, "Where would you like to go, sir?" I said, "I've got no idea. You tell me." So we started to talk. I mentioned about cricket. He goes, cricket. He takes me to a house. It's 9 a.m. in the morning, right? We knock on the door. There's a guy there. I've forgotten his name now. But anyway, this particular man was half asleep, wiping his eyes. Anyway, we got talking. He was a cricket man. He was head of certain cricket clubs in Montserrat. He was a commentator on radio and television. I've forgotten his name, but it'll come to me. Young guy. So he said to me, he doesn't know me from a bar of soap. I don't know him from a bar of soap. He said to me, "Okay, Norman, you love cricket. Come with me about an hour's time." I had breakfast with him. We went by car to a cricket ground. And I've turned up and he goes, "Norman, you're going to be a guest commentator on our national radio service." So I'm going into a box, watching a cricket game. It's the big game of the island. I don't know any of the players. I'm suddenly commentating on radio about the game.
So was it an international game?
Sorry?
International game or domestic?
It was a domestic game, but it was a significant game. Anyway, so I'm commentating on live radio. I don't know anyone. I've just turned up in the country. I was supposed to do nothing, remember? I was supposed to do nothing, right? So I'm in there commentating, thinking, how the hell am I commentating on national radio? I've been in the country a minute and I'm on there. While I'm talking on national television, national radio, two big gentlemen come in the back of the box. I don't know who they are. I'm concentrating on commentating to these names I don't even know. And then a break happens and these two gentlemen come over and walk up to me and they shake my hand. One is the Prime Minister of Montserrat. The other is the Minister of Sports. They say to me, "Norman, we were driving around in our car. We heard you on radio. We didn't know who the hell you were. We wanted to come and meet you." Can you believe that?
now
The
we
story
can.
goes
Yes.
on. I mean, the story goes on forever, by the way. There's many more things I can talk about that is explained in my video in full. It is outrageous. We went back to Antigua Recreational Ground. There's a little lady making beef jerky. I'm sitting there. The place is no longer a cricket ground. It's like a museum. It's historical. It's got wooden panels falling down, Andy Roberts stand, Curtly Ambrose stand, whatever. It's a Vivian Richards stand. I'm there and we're eating beef jerky. In comes Merv. In comes Curtly. In comes Winston Benjamin. And they do it every day. That's their permanent lunchtime spot. Incredible. I recommend you travel there. So if we had Mervyn here, he can tell you about the story. There's a 5-minute snapshot.
His internet is still breaking.
I'll have a look. Yeah, he's got one. You know, he got 2 ticks. He's only got 1 tick to my comments, so it must be still not working. So, Amanda, can you believe that? It's like me going to India, turning up at the airport, going somewhere, and meeting these people within 5 minutes. Actually, that's happened. You know, Debashis, you know. I went to Kolkata one time. He, Bore Majunda, who, you know, Bore Majunda, Amanda? He wrote Tendulkar's book. He has a museum in Kolkata. So he and Kuntal, a guy called Kuntal was on ABP News, and Debashis all met me in Kolkata. Similar thing happened. I went straight to Eden Gardens. Who did I meet? Ganguly. That's another story. I've been very lucky. And none of this is fabrication. It's absolutely proved by my photos that I have. I have an immense collection of all the photos of all this happening. Incredible stories. Okay. I've talked enough. But guys,
Yeah.
I'm expecting you two to be going to watch that video.
I will.
Let's get back to audience comments now.
Okay. That was a good aside though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I can stay for like the next 10 minutes because I've got a test. I mean, like,
Okay, man,
test.
sorry. You're going to
Coming
pass
up.
your test. You're going to pass your test. I'm
haven't touched my books.
I'm looking at my
I'm
crystal
gonna
ball.
have to.
I'm seeing you're passing your test.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to immediately open up all those
See,
books up.
look, if RCB can win that game by just 1 run, then I'm sure you can also pass the test.
By 1 mark.
That'd be
Yeah,
enough.
I mean, yeah.
What test is it?
It's a physics test.
Oh my God. Don't ask me for any help. Physics test. Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a time, there were like a couple of years back, I did take PE as a subject, and I was literally the teacher because I literally knew more about cricket than my teacher did, and that was it was a cakewalk for me. I just never studied for that. But physics is a bad one.
Unless you taught me the physics of a bowling action, perhaps? The physics of a bowling action?
I just don't like the word physics.
There's a comment that says just write Kohli in your test answers to get some favor with the evaluator.
I like that. That's a good point. Okay. All right. Please, guys, I've talked enough. Words of wisdom, Amanda. What do you think about this tournament? Are you happy the way the tournament's going, or is it lethargic, or is it exciting? What do you think about this tournament so far?
IPL is always exciting. I mean, I've been watching it for more than 10 years for sure. It's always exciting, and the fact that last year we had to wait for a lot of extra months made it even more exciting. And then in the span of 6 months, it honestly didn't feel like it felt like IPL had just happened like less than a month ago with how quickly time just flew. But yeah, as usual, IPL is always exciting. It would have been even more exciting seeing them at the stadiums. I really missed that. But yeah, IPL is always full of surprises, so you never know.
But Norman, do you see that? That's a big statement coming from an RCB fan because RCB has never won the IPL, and still she says that IPL has always been exciting.
And that makes it even more exciting, right? Because we haven't won. I mean, Mumbai fans are probably just getting bored, so they're probably like, Mumbai's just going to win. But the fact that, it just makes, the longer you wait, the sweeter the victory. So, every year I just get
Yeah,
even
so
more excited.
so let's wait for 10 more years.
No,
Sweeter,
that's
for
that's a
sweeter
bit.
taste.
No. I mean, as long as Virat Kohli's in the side, I just want to see Virat win one. I'll wait for however long I have to.
I actually, more than Virat, I want to see AB win the trophy.
Yeah, that's also there because he hasn't won internationally as well, and that makes me feel so bad.
You would argue that this could be one of the last times they may win. You could argue that because you just don't know, do you?
But AB and Virat might still be in the team next year as well. They would surely retain them. But you don't know about others.
Well, that's the very fact of it. The actual full auction next year could see teams completely change. Completely change. And the makeup of the RCB side, and for that matter, the Delhi side, may suffer greatly when a reshuffle goes on because other teams will try to get their players for sure. If they see players that they want to get, it's the opportunity to make hay. It could be a time the Rajasthan Royals and Punjab Kings may make a lot of headway, you would hope, for their sake.
But did you notice a very interesting thing today that, both these teams, so there are a few players who have played for each other. Like, AB and Maxwell and Siraj have played for Delhi. And Stoinis and Hetmeyer have played for RCB, and they were playing against each other today.
But realistically, these players see themselves as one big club of 8 teams. If I'm being honest, I think none of these players would be either concerned about playing against or with players. They fight. It's the most enjoyable time for all these players. There are some battles that occur. There have been, I think Pollard, he had some battles with players, didn't he? I can't remember. He had some almost fights with people on the field. I think there was quite some classics, weren't there? But in general, they are all friends. After the game, I've never seen 2 teams talk to each other as much as they do. Very common. And that's good.
Yeah, yeah. And today also, after they lost the game, if you saw how Kohli and Siraj actually went to just console Hetmeyer and Pant, that was really heartening to see. Because at the end of the day, it's just a game of cricket. I mean, once it's over, they are back to being friends.
It is, but you have to remember. Sorry, go ahead, man.
It's just the passion. It's just the passion that you have for the game that really reflects. When you're on the field, you just want to go out there and win and do the best for your team. So, yeah, that they're gonna be on field banters, but off the field, like we've seen, like they're all just back to normal, all friends. They never take it off the field.
Yeah. Can you guys imagine you're making millions of dollars, you're playing a game, a sport, a game that you love, you've got friends on both sides. What a great place to be.
You have families as well now.
And families as well. I mean, there are some downsides. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of paparazzi, a lot of lack of freedom, lack of personal space. Probably the good thing about the bubble is that they can have that personal space. Probably too much of it.
Yeah.
They can't interact with fans, which they may want to do. I think Kohli's somebody who loves interacting with fans for sure. He loves.
Just before we end today's stream, I would like to do a bit of appreciation for AB de Villiers. I mean, time in and time out, again and again, he plays these kind of knocks for RCB. At 38, he's keeping the wickets as well. making so many runs as a finisher now as well. For me, he's the best T20 batsman or white ball batsman, the best batsman that I have seen in my lifetime. Like I started watching cricket from 2003 World Cup. So since then, I have not seen a better white ball player. He has been like, it's called 360-degree players, and players like these come once in a lifetime. And I think South Africa have been lucky and also unlucky in a way that he retired 3 years ago. So hopefully, if RCB, if South Africa comes out of this turmoil that they are in right now, and everything goes fine for them, I would love to see him playing for South Africa in the World Cup. And even if South Africa beats India in the final and AB gets to pick that trophy, I would still be happy for him.
That's not going to happen.
Okay, what's not going to happen? Will South Africa not win? Will AB not play for them?
I don't think he'll play because AB de Villiers is above that. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. What's his motivation to play again?
Not to prove anything, but he himself said that he has been in touch with Mark Boucher, and he said, I'll look at my form and my fitness at that time, and if everything goes right, then I would love to play for South Africa.
Look, he's played regularly for Middlesex and their tournaments throughout I was there a couple of years ago. I met him at in the Middlesex dressing rooms. Our SCG11 were able to. In fact, two or three of our players played for us, but also played for Middlesex. It was quite unusual to see that happening. So anyway, he was a great guy then, and we had a chat to him about a lot of things. Actually, he was very open, and he said he likes having a game for someone other than his country. Why? Because he's able to relax and enjoy himself. He feels no pressure at all, which is an interesting comment. When he plays for his country, there's a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, but this could be like one last hurrah for him. I mean, what if actually he does well and takes them to a victory? It couldn't be a better end to his career.
He really deserves it.
Sorry?
Like more than anyone. I said he really deserves it more than anyone else. AB deserves it the most. AB deserves a World Cup victory, whether it be T20 or the 50 overs.
I'm afraid to say that South Africa have choked in almost every World Cup they've been in. They've had many semi-finals and they've lost every single one because the pressure got to them. And they've got a very poor side at the moment, and it'll take more than de Villiers to win that, I'm afraid. So I think.
See, I feel like South African players are pretty good though, right? We've got AB, we've got Morris, we've got Rabada.
Morris also doesn't play. Morris also doesn't play for South Africa anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. No, you can. If you take all the IPL South Africans and put them in the team, you've got a pretty good side. But that won't be the South African side that'll play in a World Cup. It should be, but it won't be. Same can be said with the West Indians. Can you imagine Hetmeyer, Bravo, Russell, Gale, Holder? That should win a World Cup as well, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
By the way, RCB has signed Scott Coughlin for one of the replacements for Cam Richardson.
Who are they?
Scott Coughlin from New Zealand.
All right.
And I think Ish Sodhi as well, if I'm not wrong.
So that means these two players will have to go from New Zealand to India now and be in 2 weeks quarantine, won't they? So they'll come into play, but very late in the tournament.
Yeah, same with Rassie van der Dusen as well. He's on the way, I guess, or has reached probably.
I don't think any of those three players will make any impact on any of the teams they're in, to be really honest with you. So they may not even get a game. So, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we've spent a great session. Thank you for joining us. Kesh, have you got any last comments? Maybe help Amanda out in the physics test?
No, I was just looking at some cricket updates. So Rajasthan has actually requested player loans because they are suffering the most. So the loan window has been activated now, since it's almost the middle part of the tournament. So there could be some transfer this season.
But I don't know whether there's anyone real. I mean, when you say loans, you talk about players like, say, if Zampa was still there, for example, being loaned out. Is that what you're saying? That's what happens, correct? They're players within the tournament itself, or they're people outside the tournament?
No. From within the tournament, like teams which have not used a player for more than two games, then they can be transferred.
So what about Milan? Is that one of them? Could he be one of the ones loaned out?
But I don't think Punjab will actually release Malan. You could see players like maybe Pujara or Thappa getting transferred, because I don't think they would be used as much.
They need some overseas.
Yeah, but I mean, Pujara, my God, with a batting run rate of 3, maybe much used to.
You never know, Norman. You never know. I mean, cricket is a funny game. You never know.
Oh, you're sounding more like a commentator every day. Cricket is a funny game. We don't. No. All right. It doesn't look like Merv Richards is coming back on, but guys, if I can let you know in advance next time to spend time talking to this man and having sitting in his lounge room and potentially have Viv Richards walk past making a cup of tea or something would be rather special.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it will.
It's a rare privilege. Really, if there's 3 players in the world of cricket who are alive, who would you want to meet? Amanda's going to say Kohli, I know.
Yeah, I've met him a couple of times already.
Oh, yeah, I've met him a couple of times. Oh.
Four times. 4 times.
4 times, not that you're counting. So okay, close your eyes. Tell me 3 names off the top of your head who you would like to meet. Go. Close your eyes.
No. Keshav, go. You go first.
Oh, no. I got trapped in this last time as well when I said ladies first. So today it's your turn.
But I went first the last time.
No, I went first.
You're both just delaying so you can think of players. I know this.
Yeah, I'm done. I've met my favorite cricketers.
My all-time favorite is MS Dhoni, so he'll be the first on that list. Then Sachin Tendulkar, of course. I would love to meet him. The third one is a tricky one, but for now, I'll just name these 2. I don't have a third favorite so far.
Viv Richards? How about you put Viv Richards? I think I gave you every chance to say Viv Richards. Now you haven't said it. Amanda Kohli? Okay, come on.
I'm gonna think of the cricketers I haven't met before. I'd love to meet Chris Gayle since I've been a huge RCB fan, and I've wanted to meet him for as long as I can remember. I want to meet Rohit Sharma really badly for some reason.
For some reason, what's that reason?
I just want to take him off my list, to be honest. But I do want to meet Rohit. I want to meet Chris Gayle. He's such a fun guy.
What about
you've met?
I met 3 cricketers in my life. There is Virender Sehwag, because he's from my hometown. So I've met him. I've seen him just taking a jog in the park when he was relatively quite new in the Indian team. I met Akash Chopra. He once came to my school. And the third one, I met Rahul Dravid when I was actually in class 5. So there's a picture of me and my dad in Indiranagar Kagunda.
Akash Chopra stayed in Coogee near me at a hotel. We met up for breakfast every morning, and I took him to the game. He's a good friend.
Okay. Okay.
So Akash Chopra's a good friend.
Why don't you get him on your channel?
I haven't really asked because he I can't go on his channel because it's a Hindi channel, so it doesn't make much point. But I will ask him. Why don't we bring him on here? I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that for sure. I've met these three gentlemen. Viv Richards, Steve Waugher, I'm talking to now to come on my show. Okay, he's a plan. It's all about his book. Sachin, I actually hosted a dinner for him that I organised in Sydney back in 2015 with 50 guests of mine. He was my guest at that dinner. And Viv Richards, of course, I told you the story with him. All right, so
I've actually,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, no, since I used to play badminton, I started off training at Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore. So I used to bump into a lot of cricketers, and a lot is really a lot. So I've actually met a lot of cricketers. My first one was Harbhajan Singh, and after that, I just kept meeting everyone who used to come to the stadium. So I got to speak to Sachin personally. I got to speak to Dhoni, Virat, Sehwag, everyone personally, because there were a bunch of them playing badminton and on our courts and stuff. So it's amazing because I've actually met almost like a lot of the cricketers now and then. I could go on about.
I don't think you've done it all. That's not true.
How
can it be done?
just how subtly she just slipped it off, and she's like,
I just said I could go on about it, but then I'm gonna feel like a show off, so I'm not.
Go on about it. I went on about it.
I mean, I could tell you the names of everyone I've met.
Okay, go for it. Rattle them off.
I'm gonna feel like a show.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so I've met Kohli, of course. I've met AB. I've met Watson. I've met Sachin, Dhoni, Sehwag, Ashwin, Rahane.
She should make an 11 of these players.
Yeah, I've met Mandeep. KL. Wait, how many people are watching this?
A lot. Enough.
Yeah. Okay. Then just let me know when you're done with the live. I could say something else too, but yeah. And I've met KL Rahul a couple of times. I've met Mandeep Singh, Sarfaraz Khan. I've seen
Manish Pandey.
No, I haven't met Manish Pandey. I met Rahul Dravid. I've met a lot of people. Anil Kumble, yeah, he was my first cricketer. With Harbhajan and Anil were walking together, and I'm friends with Anil Kumble's son because they're from Bangalore, right? So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then who else? I have my autograph book in one of the cupboards there. So.
Okay, you have a job. In the comments of this page, not the live chat, but the comments, I want you to list your players. I want Kesha, you to list your players. I'll list my players.
I met just 3 guys.
Doesn't matter.
Oh wait, I've met Raina, Zahir Khan, Ishant Sharma, Kirmani, one of the old players.
Yeah.
Srishant, I used to see pretty often. Yeah, I've got pictures with a lot of them. Chahal I've met. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, but non-Indians, you met Watson?
I've met Watson. I've met AB. Yeah, that's about it. Non-Indians is just I've seen David Weiss, one of the ex-RCB players, just walk by, like just close to me. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get a few of these people on this channel where you'll get to meet Steve Waugher in the future. Adam Hollyoake and Monty Panesar are on regularly. Mervyn Richards could have the entire West Indian players running into his lounge room because they're not doing very much there. So let's plan that. Right.
You know what?
Please, make comments to this video, not just in the live chat. But...
I'm sure you both have met a lot of players. So what you both should do is make an 11. Like, Norman's 11 versus Amanda's 11 out of the players you have met. And then Norman, you put both those teams in the poll section and ask which team will win on paper.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I mean, some of the people. I mean, if you don't start me on who I've met, I mean, my God.
Yeah. No, but make sure that you don't have same players in your 11.
Okay.
Well, you can't
Alright.
take Virat Kohli because he's definitely.
All right. That's okay. You make sure you list. Amanda, spend some time. Not now. Do your exam first, and then after your exam is to go into the comments part of this, not the live stream, but the comments, and make comments there. Okay.
I'll do that.
So there's a comment. They say, Keshav, you could try and get Monty on a talk show. Well, I don't know Monty. I think Norman is the one who knows him.
Well, Monty, let's get Monty on this show with you, and then you meet organically. That's good.
That sounds good.
All right, guys. I think we better go. We've done a very good job here. We've almost gone 2 hours.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it, though, does it? It's been great. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Amanda, go and do your exam, for God's sake. Get ready for your exam. I want you to pass.
Oh.
Physics exam. Oh, yuck. Yuck.
That's so worth for it.
Is it multiple choice?
So I want to become a pilot, so physics is mandatory for that. So yeah.
No, he actually asked, are the questions going to be multiple choice?
Oh, I thought you said, was it my choice picking
No,
physics?
multiple choice.
There are 3 multiple choice, and the rest are just all these numericals and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, to become a pilot, how fantastic! You could fly the private jet of all the cricketers. It's a company you could start. Amanda's private jet service or something, and who knows? And your
Fingers crossed.
And your father, Matthew Hayden. No, of course. All right.
Wish.
Okay. I think one last question. Air Force pilots.
No. Commercial. I was just going to say that. Commercial pilot.
Okay. Okay, guys. Go and check that video out about the West Indies experience as well. I'll send you a link. All right, guys. Thanks, everyone. We've been grateful with Keshav and Amanda. We had Chris Vernon. We had Merv Richards almost. We had Nalakshi. So all of us will be soon together again. Thanks for the time. All the best. This is Norman Koshek from Eyes on Cricket with Norman Koshek. See you soon again. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Ciao.